Hey everyone, and welcome to An Open Door. It is December 19th, 10 a.m. Eastern. It's the hour we call Sharing the Word. We're currently um, staying present with Resurrection, a channel text through Paul Selleck. And as is our habit, we begin with a clip. Today, I'm pulling from a very recent channeling, and let's do that now.
In an other way, and then allow the process of realization or re-knowing to be in this encounter. Now, in the very simple claim, I am in God, you are claiming all things, inclusive of the things you do not wish to look at or see, in that vibrational accord. And when all things are claimed at that level of vibrational accord, all things are moved. The claim, behold, I make all things new, may be the act of witnessing the creation and re-seeing, but the alchemy of the action of seeing is present in the attunement. I am in God, because what you are in must hold all of the other ideas of all things that can be. If I am in God, all things are in God, high, low, and in between, like approve of them or not. Your recognition that the things that you have held in shadow are in God support them in lifting or being moved to a higher level of tone, reclaimed or recreated in one way or another. The alignment that you have utilized thus far must be understood as what you have known yourselves through. The recreation of the old must now be understood as what you are encountering, and the outcome of that is the realization of the inherent divine as manifest as all things. Some of you say to us, if this is not what I want or how I would want it, why should I bother? It is not that it is not what you want, it is not what you know you could have had. If you understood that on the other side of that difficult marriage or that job you never liked was something far more interesting, far more wonderful, far more growth-oriented, you might say, I am willing. But if it doesn't resemble your idea of what you would choose, you would have a difficult time making the choice. You do not want to go on the vacation to the place when you do not know what the hotel room looks like. You do not want to meet the person on the date who you have not had vetted by your friend. You do not want to enter a workplace where the circumstances are unknown. You want the certainty that you may have longevity. This is understandable, yes, but it also precludes the surprise that you might partake in when you are in a new encounter with what exists beyond the old idea of what is allowed or what can be. The triumph of this teaching, and indeed we will call it that, is the liberation from past choice and from the agreement that the old must give you what you expect, whereas the new may offer you something far better. I am willing to know someone in a new way. I am willing to know love in a new way. I am willing to know my gifts in a full way. I am willing to understand my relations in a way that benefits me and those I am with. You may have these experiences and you may comprehend them experientially, but not through outlining how they must be seen or how you must gain from them. Because the gifts that any circumstance brings of any merit is generally one of great surprise. I didn't know I was going to like that man so much. Perhaps I will have coffee with him again. I didn't think I would ever do a job like this, but I rather like like it. I think I understand why I stayed in the marriage and why I no longer require that. And I think I understand that I can travel to a new country and not know the name of the lodging or how many reviews it has had that I must choose from. You are understanding yourself in an accord with a potential that has not been seen, but is already expressed. And once one is selecting, choosing, agreeing from the upper room, the manifest reality that you have known yourself through is altered, not will be altered, is altered. Imagine you decide to walk into town wearing a bright red dress, the most amazing bright red dress you could ever imagine wearing. Nobody in your town would wear that red dress. Who are you to wear that red dress, you might think? The moment you walk into town blazing as yourself, everything is shifted. Your relationship with the town and the townspeople is other than it would have been if you had kept yourself as you have been known. Now, we are not saying to parade yourself, but what we are saying is at this level of vibration, you are indeed wearing the red dress because the field that you hold is impacting everything and everyone that you encounter. You have become the tone that alters reality. You are holding the level of tone that the monad creates from. And behold, I make all things new doesn't so much become the claim that is made, but the experience of being. I am in God supports the realization of matter in a higher tone. I am of God supports the physical self in accord or agreement to the monad or the divine self in form. And I am with God offers you the alignment and the support you require for the high choices to be claimed and known as with and through you. You may say these words if you wish. I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free. I am free. I am free. I am in the upper room. I have come, I have come, I have come. Behold, I make all things new. It will be so. God is. God is. God is. I am in God. I am of God. I am with God. And say this, please, to all that are present. I know who you are in truth. I know what you are in truth. I know how you serve in truth. You are free, you are free, you are free. You are in God. You are of God. You are with God. Now, if you wish, imagine one area of your life that feels outside of the divine, or one thing that you see in the world that appears to be outside of the divine, a thing held in shadow. And you may say these words and imagine yourself facing that thing or standing in that thing in the energy or situation that you have imagined. And you may say this, I am in God. I am of God. I am with God. And now this, we are in God. We are of God. We are with God. We are one with the source of all things. Thank you each for your presence. Please stop now, please.
Good morning, everyone. Looks like Amy will not be joining this one, so I will facilitate our discussion. Does anyone have anything they'd like to highlight from what we just listened to? Or any comments about it? Alka. Good morning, Alka.
Good morning. In the last bit, when he said anything that you hold in darkness, and I looked around, and the only person I could find holding in darkness was myself. So I concentrated on myself, and yeah, because recently I've been feeling a bit tired of all these cyclical things, Earth going up in vibration, low in vibration, going up. And I was thinking to myself, how many more times do we have to do this? So I thought, probably it's me I'm holding in darkness rather than anybody else. So that's what I did. I turned to myself and I gave myself light. That's all I have to say.
Thank you for sharing that with us. I think it's really possible as we listen to these guides or as we listen to any teacher, when we are open to get really clear insights, and that sounds like one to me. I hope it does to you. Patricia, good morning.
Good morning, one and all. Good to be here. Very good to be here. Missed you yesterday. I was thinking about it. Things that we meet in shadow, inside and outside. Because, if I'm meeting someone in shadow, I'm meeting their shadow. I'm also taking my shadow with me. So it's like I understand what Alka is saying. So both are true, inside and outside. Pardon me. So, that was good to hear. Thank you.
When I heard that part, I thought of two things. I thought of health issues that I deal with. And so that was the inside. And then I immediately thought of Donald Trump. And I had to go, no. I was like, oh boy. So we're on page 81 in the book Resurrection. And this book, I think, is so impactful when we read it together. I love reading it with you. Is there anyone who would like to read today? I see Cindy, Patricia. Okay, we'll go along and I can jump in and read some.
I'm digital, so can you just tell us where, I know you said page 81, but the beginning paragraph.
Will be right after the word pause. We would like to say several things.
Okay, got it.
So Cindy, you're first.
Okay. We would like to say several things about what has occurred, what will occur, and what will not occur. Your idea of the self in separation, in some ways, has been vanquished. But the habituated self that would seek to perpetrate holds an echo in the vibrational field. The exercise you did in the field was operating on multiple levels because it was indeed done beyond time. Now, you understand yourself by the name you were born to, perhaps what you wore today, or who your best companion is. And this is all well and good, but none of this is real. There are ways of knowing self at a level of tone or vibration. We are not saying it's not true that you wore blue, that you are married to a man or a woman, or that you are of this or that race. Again, ways of knowing the self that are actually temporary. When you understand the temporary nature of form, you release your attachment to form, and you allow form to be what it is, expression of God that is in fact malleable to thought. Matter is malleable to thought, and even the laws that you live by. Humanity can or can't do this or that is made by prescription, and finally is about to be changed. The denial of the divine, the cause of your pain, the cause of war, is about to be vanquished. But the idea of pain, the idea of war, will be reflective still in your experience for some time. And I'm mostly just really quiet with all of this. The few things that I wish to say. Number one, I am I am aware that if you were to read this book and believe in time, the exercise that we did last week is different than the exercise we just did in the clip. And yet it feels like when they said the exercise you just did, it was totally appropriate to relate it back to what just occurred. This book in linear time was written years ago. The channeling was given just this past Wednesday, 2 days ago, and yet it was completely appropriate. The other thing is that there's a recognition in my space that I am being perfectly cared for, and that the teachings are coming to me in a way that I could absorb. And I've spent a lot of time with Joel Goldsmith in the last couple of days. And last night, when I wasn't sleeping, I was listening to a particular teaching over and over again. And the teaching was exactly what this paragraph was, which is, this is Cindy's words now, get a grip. God is. And so identifying with something separate literally just holds the temporary as if it's who you are. And it will continue to keep this sense of suffering and pain and a problem to be solved in place. The truth is, God is, and there are no problems in God. And that's what I just heard, the guide say. And it's what Joel was saying in so many ways last night and yesterday. And um, I can confess that the energy of a resistance to that is still alive here. And I accept the teaching is true. So that's what I have. But it is pointing to something you said, Sandra, and what was going on last night and this morning is just the recognition that when the physical body is experiencing physical pain, it's a very interesting experience to hold these teachings and to embrace the physical pain and accept that this experience is happening, but not to me, if that makes sense. To honor the experience, but not identify as the one separate who's experiencing it, is another way of putting it. And the more I can do that, the more I'm watching it soften. It's what the teachings are telling me. And yet, last night, this morning, yesterday, when the physical pain was like erupting, I was like, damn, I just wanted to stop. So I just wanted to confess that. So there you have it.
Something that just, well, the two things. In the clip that we listened to, I wrote down what he was channeling, is that we're so used to wanting things, or we have such a locked in framework that to think about making things new, these are my words, I can't remember his words, but it can be difficult or it can be a challenge to be open to that. And I love that they said that the greatest gifts are usually the ones that are the greatest surprise. Did you catch that? And I thought, yes, because I was open and I wasn't expecting that at all. The greatest gifts are the greatest surprise. And then I'm going to link that to something that you just read at the bottom of page 81. When you understand the temporary nature of form, you release your attachment to form. Okay, I'm not the body. That is, in fact, malleable to thought. I thought that's surprising, but I know it's true from A Course in Miracles. I know what a miracle is. We call something a miracle because, well, I don't know why you call it a miracle, but I call it a miracle because I didn't know that could happen. That doesn't seem conforming to what I think the physical laws are, and yet they happen all the time. They're malleable to thought. Matter is malleable to thought, and even the laws that you live by, humanity can or can't do this or that, finally is about to be changed. And so with the physical, and I've actually healed, I want to say I've healed myself. I've been healed. I've been healed of things that doctors said I would just have to live with, but I've been healed by them. And that's why I read everything David Hawthorne wrote, because he healed himself. And so knowing this, walking around knowing this, and it's not just about healing, it's about everything. That physical matter, we thought it's set in stone, and then quantum physics comes along and tells us just the way you're thinking about something changes the atomic structure. So this seems, to people who are not involved in this type of work or this kind of study, impossible. But we know that it's true. We know that it's true. And so I'm just so grateful for that. And I'm also have had the experience of it, which really makes it a lot easier to believe. It's not just a cognitive belief, it's a full body belief. Anyway, that's what jumped out at me in that paragraph. Cindy.
I'm just going to add, like, when I went to open the course this morning to get ready for Monday, I opened it up to one of the pages that said over and over again, I am not a body, I am free, for I am still as God created me. And there was a recognition that before I write the email tomorrow to say this is what we're going to talk about, there was more contemplation. Because there is a recognition of the thinking mind wanting to hijack that statement. You know, we've talked about it over and over and over again. Well, I'm not the thinking mind either. But it was still this sense of being perfectly taken care of, this understanding of stating that when I say I'm not a body, I'm free, I'm still as God created me. It doesn't mean that the body isn't this temporary manifestation.
Yes.
It relates to identification as form, you know, and the way that glues certain assumptions and expectations in place. And but mostly it put me in awe because I'm in this space and I'm asking, and you talk about miracles. To me, this is a miracle. I keep asking, what is the highest and best? And to have, like, between Joel and the guides, and of course, all pointing to what to sit with, to me is miraculous when all these different voices are forming to say, all right, this is we're not asking you to reject the body experience. We're just continue to recognize that identifying with what is temporary is well, it keeps recreating certain things you may not want. So
Yes. And for me, the recognition that I'm not a body, I am still as God created me, it actually changes the physical experience. Knowing that changes the physical experience. So, any other comments on this paragraph?
Ever since I've come to the center of awakening and to here and to awakening together, I continuously hear that term, I am not a body. And for us, it's a little bit hard we've been trying to grasp what that means because we kind of already knew that because of how we get to exist. But at the same time, every time that's heard, it is the way we hear it is, I am not only a body.
Yes. Yes.
I am so much more. And the I am not a body, every time it's heard, it feels like I'm being dropped in the bottomless pit. Versus I am not only a body, which makes me more curious about the what else. So I had to just say it out loud because it's running on a repeated loop inside right now. And it kind of makes me nauseous, just physically feel nauseous because it feels like the statement misses so much. The I am not a body misses so much of the being experience. So I guess we just needed to say that.
I love that. And it's interesting because I do that also. I add the word only.
Mm-hmm.
I do, and I just automatically do that.
I could not have this human experience. We could not have this human experience without somehow engaging the body, having a body or container to have it through or with. I'm always just so amazed at the physical expressions of spirit in the body. And I'm like, I wonder what that feels like in that body like that, you know? But I guess people have the same question about us as well.
And in that flower or in that tree,
Yes.
any form,
Yes.
Same thing. They're not only a tree.
I
I
sit here daily watching pineapple palms right in front of me. And the imagination is, oh, to open up and just do this
mean,
in all my glory, you know? Yeah.
and this paragraph tells us the temporary nature of form, and that's why we think we're not only a body. Yeah. Richard, good morning.
Morning, everyone. Yeah, great shares. I'm reminded about the, I can't find it in the paragraph, but where it talks about time. There is no time. It reminds me of people that talk about multiple dimensions of being. And the law one talks about densities, 7 densities of being. And so if there's no time, all of those dimensions, all of those densities are being experienced in the present moment. So when you identify as a body, like we do, that's the lowest density of experience for the self as a self-aware entity. And so we really want, but between that and there are multiple dimensions of expressing ourselves as less dense than we are currently are. A body you can see through, or light bodies, for ephemeral bodies. All of those are happening right now in this same moment. But we all are experiencing this density of the body based on the vibration that we created with our mind. And so we call that consciousness. And the higher the consciousness, the lighter we have become, and the more attracted to the physical that we become. So that helps me to understand what it means when it talks about when you change any element, any density or dimension, you change all dimensions and all densities at the same moment. So you're not just working on the body or the density of this experience, you're hailing densities of all experiences, for all the way from the body to light. So that's what helps me put us all together from my questioning mind.
Yes, that's so beautiful. And I just reminded, I know I've told you this before, but I feel the urge to say it again. The voice that I heard said, I am you and I am more than you. And I knew what that meant. It wasn't a question. It was just, I am you and I am more than you. Patricia.
I'd like to, I'm part of something called the Senior Sangha. It's a Buddhist group out of California. And one of the quotes that we were talking about yesterday was something from Pema Chodron. Some of you may have heard of her. And she said, "You are the sky, and the rest is just weather." I loved it. Thought I'd share that with you.
That's lovely.
It's simple. It lands the plane. It gets to the heart of the matter, doesn't it?
And it's a beautiful picture. You know, the weather, it could be sun, could be snow, could be rain, whatever. William. Good morning, William.
Good morning, everyone. I kind of following up what I heard Richard say. For me, what's made so much sense is that I think of the 3D world, past, present, future, and then I think of the fourth dimension or the vertical. And I just see this as infinite levels of consciousness, awareness, insight, whatever. And I like what I heard Lonnie, it's a reminder. I'm more than, I'm more than. There is that body that I carry around or gets carried around. It's like when I'm at a low level of insight, I just think, feel, act accordingly to that level of consciousness, inside awareness. Very little aware of being aware. And then I'm a little bit more aware, more aware, more aware, and more distance, more zooming out, more insight. And that's why I also like being around other people because it reminds me when I'm around someone who's operating from this level of insight and understanding and being there, it's just a reminder, I'm here. But it's more, there's more of a willingness I notice of accepting. Okay, this is just where I'm at. And just that acceptance seems to, oops, now I'm here. And then I'm here, but then I'm here and here and here and here. So I see that happening like an elevator. I'm in the lower regions of the elevator, but I'm knowing I'm in this on this elevator, and I'm exposed to other people whose elevators are way up there. And what a reminder. So, and that's why I love silence more and more and more, because I seem to ride in the elevator more when I'm silent. I just kind of give up, surrender. It's a nice kind of letting go. So, but I almost inwardly cringe when I see someone in so much pain. Happens to be, I'm not so much pain now, but oh man, do I have compassion for anybody that's in that pain. But then I see somebody who obviously is in pain, but wow, their level of understanding, acceptance, love, how they exude it is such a, and that's more and more of the potential I see. Even when I'm here, it helps me at least be here. So I just, it's just such nice reminders. So thank you.
Thank you, William. Thank you so much.
I just hear again and again and again, and maybe it's just how I'm attuned right now, as everybody speaks. I am getting this resounding I am, I am, I am. Beyond the am is the jump off point of whatever the experience is going to be. But I just keep hearing the I am as that divine moment of connection. That place, that one spot where we are in that place of choice of I am being and whatever comes forward out of that. So I'm very much in resonance in this meeting right now, just hearing all of the I ams that keep rising up.
Could I just add one
Yes,
note?
go ahead.
I listened to Wonbo, a Korean Zenist, yesterday. And for 15 years, she said she's been living this question. And that it's always there. What is this? What is life? What is? And living with the question, in its essence, I am, or however, what she came up with. No, she didn't come up. She's just living the question for 15 years. It's like, it's not expected to be over and one and done. It just is. That helps me too. That helps my commitment, my devotion, even when I'm bouncing around. I've got no shock absorber because I'm just feeling the body is dictating what I seem to. But something in me is beyond even that. So
You just brought me to a place, William, of the idea of living with childlike wonder and just seeing everything newly as you walk, in this body through life. Everything, instead of being in this strict, structured mind that thinks it already knows, with childlike wonder and awe, so many things open up. A whole way of being opens up, and maybe it is another level of the elevator. I don't know, but I just love that.
And sometimes I find myself cheating because I love the age that seems to be following me.
Huh.
And I feel like a kid. And I don't know, I'm all over the place. But I love it that I've been around a while. Wonderful.
Yeah, I love it too. I like that. Okay, Patricia, I think you're our next reader, and we're on the second paragraph of 82.
And William, we love it too.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, while we're loving William, there's something I haven't said to you. I love your voice. The voice you were given in the form you're in, this deep voice that resonates, a vibration that is so comforting to me. Just wanted to say that.
And that part of me that I call my ego loves to hear that. Plus the rest of me. Thank you very much. I don't hear it. I hear people saying that. I like it. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Patricia.
Okay. I think we will tell you what this means. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. We will tell you what this means. You understand that light travels at a speed. You understand that what you see in the sky may have been extinguished long ago, but is still present in your experience. When an eradication occurs in the energetic field, while the healing may be instantaneous at the level of the individual, at the level of the collective, it must be understood as a process of adaptability. Now, imagine there was a pitch before played. Let me read that again. Now, imagine there was a pitch being played in this very room that was harmful to the ear. You would do what you could to push away the sound or the source of the harm. But what you would be doing, finally, we say, is acclimating to the sound so it was no longer harmful. In many ways, you did this with fear. You adapted fear. You learned to make choices in fear, have a bias in this fear or that. Now, what is happening here in that acclimation to the monad, which expresses without fear, is now present in your energetic field. But you still have the house that you bought with your ex-wife, and you still want more, and she still wants more alimony. And you know she is God, but you never want to see her again. You want to sell the house and forget it. Do you understand this? So the trials of history have a residual effect that will begin to play out. But like a record on a turntable, one day they will not be playing. But you are so acclimated to the pain that you will reinforce the idea of it even when it is not there. Paul has seen the image of a man who has locked himself in a bomb shelter. The world outside is evil. I must stay in this little shelter to know myself is safe. However, the war is ended, but the belief in war, and consequently the dangers of war, are still present in consciousness and acted upon.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
So we act in what we know. We act from what we know and are accustomed to. Yeah.
Wow. 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 Yeah.
Do you want to say more about that? Wow, William?
Oh, I just I just resonate. It's like I want to jump off the rooftop. It's like the knowing of that. That's something that's so invulnerable. Just the knowing of that. I love that whole paragraph. The end of are still present in consciousness. Wow, that explains it. Oh man, does that explain it?
Yes,
For me,
because
for
we
me.
experience that, don't we? We've experienced what that says. I have. The residual effects still play out, even if I know it is different. I may not physically be in that bomb shelter, but I'm walking around with a little bomb shelter all around me.
And maybe could I add this? Maybe is having experienced certain people in that extreme sense of physical pain. For instance, my father, who was so, quote, religious, but walked his talk, that kind of thing. But at one point, because the pain was like, just give me a gun, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. That was overcome by so much pain. It's just almost unbearable. And that's where, when I listen to Cindy or anyone, it's like, oh my God, oh my God. And then just saying that, there's some relief even there.
Yes. Lonnie.
There's this place that we landed between survival and thriving. And it's this interesting kind of place because the first book that we wrote it was called Childhood is a Relative Experience. And the picture we were given for the cover of that was a tree with a girding root wrapped around it. And that place between survival and thriving became this place of existence once the girding root was released. And it was very similar to this. And for some reason, we kept being shown what the recovery of that tree looks like when the girding root is released. And all it can remember is the limitations of the root being wrapped around until it finally starts to heave more and more in breath and realize that it has more room to expand and breathe. And that's kind of what came to mind with this. That not kind of, that's very much. How many years this being continued to vibrate in the experience of the girding root, even as it was gone, until that full freedom was able to be experienced of, oh my gosh. Again, I guess I touched it yesterday where I was the one holding on to it, realized, oh, the limitation is gone, but we're the ones still holding it.
Yeah. Richard.
I feel prompted to share. I I like that part where they talked about after divorce. You don't like the person you divorced or whatever. I haven't been through 3 divorces myself. I I realized for me the experience was difficult initially, and then I came to the realization after each divorce, and they left me. I didn't leave them. So, and I deserved it. They suited tango. Let me put it that way. I realized there was in their relationship there was a love that existed before the split. And I decided to honor the love that was there rather than the disappointment with the failure of the relationship. And that has served me well over the years. I never understood how people could have animosity or not kind thought or not loving thought about ex-partners, regardless of how bad they may have acted at the end. At some point in that relationship, we loved each other. Honor that not the breakup. But most people seem to honor the breakup, and they dislike their partners in the past. I continue to bless and love all my ex-partners, whether they're living or not, because they were part of my experience of loving. And that's what I love about life, the ability to love. I mean, some years ago, even before the course, before I found AA, I realized that we had to be loved. That's the only thing that made sense. That we have to be loving beings, and so I'm so glad that I finally stopped drinking, and I'm so glad I found the Course in Miracles. I'm so glad I found groups like this where we can share our love experience and be the love moment to moment, and really. And not in a selfish way, because when we act that way and we feel that way, we're raising the higher consciousness of the whole of mankind. Everything that is within the dream we're raising. So I love that part of that's why I love these love fests we have every time we get together. Love us all.
Thank you. I've heard for myself and for many people I've heard over the years and all the different groups I've been in, a constant thread that seems to go through is, why am I feeling blissful and happy today, and then tomorrow I'm here, and why do I go back and forth and back and forth? And I think this paragraph kind of explains it. I mean, I've heard it explained that even when you turn off the fan, the blades still keep going for a while. I've heard that analogy, but the guides are saying it's because we have adapted, this process of adaptability. We adapted to an environment in a certain way. And now when we see new things, there's a whole nother process of adaptability. And we become acclimated, and that there's a residual effect that still needs to play out, just reading some of their words. But it feels good to know that, so that I'm not beating myself up when I have these residual effects.
And fear has you convinced that as bad as it is,
Yes.
the unknown is worse.
Yes.
That it can only be worse, which is bullshit.
I don't know. I'm starting to like the unknown. And
Me
I'm
too.
really kind of getting excited, like, especially when I read from the guides, I get a little excited about what's next. You know? William.
Well, what I'm aware of right now is being the sky and the ocean. Either way, the ocean's always there. It's like falling back into it. The sky is always there, aspiring. And the weather, I love that. It's both and. I'm the sky, the ocean, and I'm also the weather. And I tell you, I think about when the hurricanes come, you got all these planes that are saying, oh, here's an opening. Oh, here's another opening. Oh, I see the sky over here. So I chase over there and, oh, I see, oh, it went in. It got sucked in now. But knowing this, and that's what I see is the awareness, this awareness, it's just expansive. It becomes, it's everything, even all the metaphors. And what I'm seeing more and more, wow, I don't do anything. That's just awareness. Wow, when I surrendered to knowing that. So I just love these metaphors, but they're limited, and that's okay. It's just another cloudburst. So what? So what? So what?
I love that word, wow. Wow.
You know, I got to finish with this then, because I heard years ago, we only need 3 words. I've said it before. Yes, no, and wow. That's all we need. I sometimes even practice that consciously, but it's just because my life is a wow. It is a wow. And my tendency has been to say yes when I meant no. and no when I said yes. So I'm learning. I'm just a little toddler.
It's so funny, William, because I find myself when I get to sit with people so often saying, because they want to use 5 million words, and I'm like, this is a yes or no question. And they're like, how do I put it all into yes or no? But it's absolutely possible and often necessary.
And and the Buddha, I guess, had three responses. Question, because every question has so many assumptions built into it. And how in the hell do you even answer the question unless you have to define it? And the person that's asking the question is not aware of all the assumptions built into it. So therefore, you can't answer it. It's impossible. That's why living the question to become aware. Oh man, I just love it. And when I ask a question, I always say, please don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer. I don't want to know, but you don't need to know either. It takes you anyway. And I just love listening to each of you in a way. It's that you have a sunburst in you. And I love it when I hear it and I hear it and I hear it. Oh my God, you put it so well. I get envious how you say it.
Okay, Lonnie, you're up. We're on page 83. There is an echo of every act.
I didn't know I had agreed to read, but I can make that happen.
I'm sorry if I'm mistaken. If I'm mistaken.
It's okay. I can do it. Maybe God told you to do that. There is an echo of every act etched into the energetic field of each individual and of the collective. You may call it a record. The claim, behold, I make all things new, is inclusive of this record. It is redeemed or reknown in higher order. Well, in fact, what we would suggest is in the upper room, you don't owe any alimony. But as long as your wife is still calling you, expect to be writing the check. In the upper room or in eternity, what has frightened you the most does not exist. And as you lower your field to the old, you comprehend the self through the old associations. In the upper room, you are free. And if you have to pay the rent, do pay the rent. Do you understand what we are teaching you? Should I go on?
Do we understand? Yeah, I think we do. Keep going, Lonnie.
Now, the residual effect of this teaching is indeed acclamation to the higher. The level of tone or vibration that this text will hold indeed surpasses the prior texts because you've aligned to the text to make this possible. And we will explain this. Imagine there is a building with a 12th floor that you've never known you could get to. You can't even imagine it from the 5th floor. But now you find yourself in the 10th and 11th, and you say, "What? What's that door to? I have come so far, I might as well find out." Now, the vibrational tone of this text is an agreement to the claim God is. It actually informs every page. And if there were those words, did I read that right? And if there were those words written on each page, that might be your experience of the text. However, we write a book to comprehend the experience the nature of the teaching for the reader. In other words, without the experience of the vibrations, the words are meaningless. We would invite you now, as you take a pause at the end of this chapter, to reflect on the life you have lived thus far, and understand this. Your reclamation is not only for now, but for always. And by always, we mean your idea of history is included. It will be so. God is, God is, God is. And we say yes to you as you say yes to all that lies before you. Thank you for your presence. Several years ago, I think I spoke on this a couple of days ago, and here it is again. I went to my first sweat, and it was hosted by a Blackfoot medicine man who built the sweat lodge in his backyard. And the man that I met was a man that was darker skinned than me, who had very strong ideas and beliefs about Black women that weren't necessarily nice. But the medicine man that I met as we built the fire for the sweat was a completely different being. And I could meet him. And so we go onto the first day. He told me I wouldn't be able to take it. I'd be weak and this and that. And all I kept asking the first day is, can I get more fire? Can I get more fire? And the second day, he set me right at the fire. And in the opening prayer and the go around, they asked that we offer one word of intention. I had nothing that there was no thinking going on. There was just all this experiencing. And the word that came was reclamation. And after each person spoke their word, he'd throw something on the fire, and the fire would go like this. Literally, from the moment I walked out of that lodge, it began the reclamation. To the point that I had to be reminded by my friend that that was the word I used. Because I kept saying, why is this? You just said this. But what it meant was also, it meant going back to all those places I had relegated to the darkness and bringing light back into them to be able to see them clearly, freshly, knowing that it was not just this body, that wasn't the entirety of the experience. And there were all these magnificent gems that I found that I got to now, as I release the experience, pick up and take with me. And it's how I got here. So that's what came as I was reading.
Thank you, Lonnie. That was really beautiful. Does anyone else have any insights from this, from what we've read today, or anything you'd like to bring forward? William? You're still muted. There you go.
I love what Bonnie was just saying. I look at that last part of the reading and I underlined the word lies, but I'm using it in a different way. It's all those lies I was believing. And then the previous page, words are meaningless. And even the word that springs me loose from being chained to a level of hanging on out of whatever level of fear, it's that beyond the word and what reclamation meant to each of us is whatever that is. It's just a word, but boy, that springs us. It's the freedom from the word that helped me vibrate to some truth of knowing at a deeper level. So
There used to be when I was a trainer of teachers, there was we would talk to the teachers before they went into the classroom and said, there was this line like, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's not the words you use, it's the intention behind the words. Always. I mean, and it was surprising to especially some of the younger teachers with experience understood this. And so, I mean, even in just personal relationships, it's like, I don't care what you're saying. I know what you're meaning. I can feel it. I can feel what the truth of this interaction is, no matter what the words are. So I think that's like you said, words are meaningless. I mean, certain words are triggers, but the vibrational tone of this text is in agreement to the claim God is. And I read this and I feel it. That's why I said I can open to any page. It doesn't matter. What comes from what page we read is the interaction amongst us. And Richard says he likes to come back to the love fest. He didn't say he's coming back to the brilliance of our discourse. Right? It's like what we are vibrationally giving each other is way beyond the words.
I'd like to share one other thing.
Please do.
I experienced Sydney Banks way back in the 80s, and I'd go to all these workshops and I'd hang out and ask questions, listen to people, and question answer but what I really got was he had two major insights, and that was his life. I heard it through words that did not penetrate. I kept trying to find out. But today I see, no, those two insights. As he put it, I saw that thought is the missing link. It explains all our realities from the level of consciousness. And he had this experience where he saw the face of God. Now that, I didn't understand what that was, but I could see the feeling and the thrust and the momentum that meant and how that permeated throughout the world. His insight, seeing something beyond words. I heard the words, but I knew there was something behind the words that I didn't know. And more, it's like the weather keeps dissipating. And oh my God, I just get a taste of what he was meaning, or I impute. It doesn't matter.
So I'm looking at the time and I'm thinking it's not the time to start another chapter. But I'm wondering if anyone who hasn't spoken would like to contribute, even if you're not on screen. I see Nandego. Is there anyone else who would like to contribute in some way? I see Rana. Hi, Rana.
Hi. Boy, I've just been soaking everything up. This reclamation of things, I'm just willing, And about a year ago, I kind of faced something that had happened in my past as a young person during the drinking days and faced it head on, no fear. And it's truly dissipated and changed. But I believe that somehow that has now opened up some other memories to come up that I thought were dealt with in the same vein of things. If I believe there can be attack, then that belief is in me somewhere still. And that's kind of what I'm looking at this morning. And this whole thing has been very helpful, that I know that my job is to just sit and face it and reclaim it. in the tone of this higher vibration, even though the mind wants to be like, well, what's this vibration and how does it feel? And am I in it? And has anything changed? And I just have been ignoring that and just sitting with the willingness that if that's what the guides are telling me to do over and over and over, be willing to reclaim this. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm looking at it as a gift. But it's something that I've pushed away anytime it came up in my thoughts for 45 years.
Wow.
More than that, you know. So I'm just letting you all know what's happening currently right now. And I am blessed with the courage to face it. It can't hurt me. The only place it exists is between my two ears. And so, you know, and it doesn't hurt, but it's the feeling of the shame, the embarrassment, right? Even though it wasn't my fault, right, in things, but I did take that drink that day. So whatever happened, happened. And looking at it from a new place, just like I did the other one. So I wanted to be honest and be authentic about what's going on with me today. It was kind of shocking last night. I was like, whoa, haven't thought about this in a long time, because the other one seemed to be the predominant, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So now I've
You
opened the flow.
door. You opened the door.
Yeah.
So
let's get rid of all of it. Not get rid of all of it. Let's come to accept that that's what it is, what it was, you know, and I don't have to suffer shame today, but
right.
I have to allow the body to feel it today because it has not been felt. So
there was
thank
a reading recently or a tape or something that talked just about that, Rona, and talked about the fact that as we're growing, as we're evolving, that it does come up, but that it never comes up to harm. It comes up to be released, to be seen and to be released finally in a fullness.
I am excited to let it go and then to see what happens next. What's the next thing to let go? So thank you. I love you all.
I have this saying in my head that comes in from experience of just exactly what you're describing. Here comes another gift in a package I didn't recognize as a gift before. You know, here it comes, another gift. And now I'm open to the gift of it. I'm open to be surprised by it and to see what beauty there is in it.
It was really great to see that the 13-year-old still expected an apology.
It's the gift of fear, isn't it?
There's so many gifts.
What we're afraid of. At least that's true for me.
And when you share it with us, we get to all partake of the gift for ourselves and relate to it in our own circumstances. Nindego, good morning, sweetheart.
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Of course.
Rona, I just want to point out the difference in vibration and frequency when it's referred to as a gift that's being offered versus a flashback or some kind of suffering, you know, completely different frequency for experience.
Yes. I get to instead of I have to. Nindego, good morning.
Morning. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So great to be here. Yeah, I guess it's just so great to be here. That's what I would just say. It's just really great to be here and to be silent and just to listen. So, and so nice to hear all of your voices. And so, yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. And that's really all I wanted to say. So thank you.
Thank you. We love your voice as well. Hugs. Well, I think that wraps us up for this morning. Thank you all for your participation and your love. I feel your love.